Hello. I wanted to share my natural skin journey, and it's been a long process, and I thought if there's anyone who is like me and is really interested in having clear skin and doing it naturally, without doing it like prescriptions or using like chemical-based products, things that aren't natural, synthetic-based products, I wanted to share my journey and how I've gotten there, and hopefully help you take some ideas away from it and things that you might be able to try that might help you. So I have combination skin, so I guess maybe it'll help if I share my skin type. I have combination skin. I tend to get a little bit oily here or here, and I don't know, maybe a little here too. I'm not really sure. My skin is never dry though. Almost never, unless I was using stuff that was stripping it. So let me go back and start at the beginning. So in my teen years, around grade 9, I started to get pimples, and I was wearing makeup at that time, which is pretty natural for a lot of teenage girls, I think, or pretty normal. And I got to a point in my life where I didn't want to be wearing makeup anymore. But even before that, I didn't want pimples, right? Nobody wants pimples, especially if they're on our face. That is, makes us self-conscious, and it makes us feel all kinds of different things associated with that. So I went to the dermatologist, and he gave me a prescription, and it didn't really help. So I went back, and he gave me a different prescription, and I would try it for a few months. He gave me a different prescription. I can't remember if I tried 2 or 3 different ones, but the third one was a red and yellow pill, or an orange and yellow. I think it was red and yellow pill, and it worked the best out of the ones that I had tried so far. So I stuck with that. And I ended up moving to Toronto. So this must have been already by the later years, because I moved to Toronto for my university. I went to U of T. And I went to go get the prescription refilled when I was living in Mississauga. And the doctor who was refilling the prescription asked me how long I'd been on it. And I said, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months, a year. He was like, you shouldn't be on this for any more than 6 months. It can start to change your organisms, I think is what he said. And I had no idea what he meant. And I still didn't know what he means. Don't know what he means. And so I got off that altogether. And I wasn't big on taking prescriptions and stuff anyway. I was already starting to shift to a more natural existence and not using things like Tylenol, Advil, cold medicine, things like that. So I just went off of that. And somebody suggested that I try eliminating dairy. And so I tried that, and it seemed to work for me, but I had to eliminate. I saw a little bit of a difference right up front, but I saw more of a difference the longer I kept with it. So after about 6 months, I noticed my skin was drastically improved, and I wasn't having to take any antibiotics. Great. But I was still having pimples occasionally and breaking out a little bit sometimes, especially around my monthly cycle. And I think in that time period, I wasn't actively doing anything, and I worked from home for about 4 years, and I got out of the routine of wearing any makeup or doing my hair up. And I'm actually going to share in another video my natural hair care, because all I use in my hair is argan oil and some essential oils, and I wash it with raw honey and water and essential oils. So I've gone completely natural, like really hardcore natural with my hair, and that's been a process too. So I'm going to share that in another video because it's been really fun, and I love how simple and easy and quick the process is, and so natural. And I love how my hair looks and feels, all the time. So I'll share that too. So I started seeing a naturopath in my late 20s, and a fantastic, amazing naturopath, and she is very good at what she does. So when I, had dealt with the more serious issues like, regulating my hormones naturally and, little things like that, just making sure all my systems were in balance, I said, I really want clear skin. And so she did a food intolerance test. And what came up on that was dairy, number 1. And she's like, oh, well, you knew that. And I thought, yeah, that wasn't hard to figure out, right? I would eat dairy and I would break out. So it's kind of easy, kind of logical. Second on the food intolerance test, and this was a blood test that she did, was garlic and onions. And I was like, what am I going to do for my natural immune boosting, because at that time I didn't have essential oils, so I would eat like raw cloves of garlic and take a bunch of vitamin C to boost my immune system to avoid getting sick. You know, if I felt the cold coming on, that's how I would kill it. Just chomp 3 cloves of raw garlic in a day. And I definitely smelled amazing. Sorry, so garlic and onions were number 2. So I thought I have control over that, like in my own house, but when I'm out and about, that's a little bit harder to control, right? And in different things, that can be hard to control for a number of reasons, and it's in everything. And I'm half Italian, and I mean, yeah, garlic and onions is a hard one to cut out completely, but I thought I'll try. And the third one was refined sugar and fruit within 8 hours of each other. I still don't understand this. I should probably ask her for more clarity around that. But the idea was very simple to me, because I thought, well, I'll just cut out refined sugar, which already was a very minimal part of my diet, so that's great. That was easy. So I did that for a while. I did that for probably a year, maybe more. And then, so this is 2017, and I'm 32 right now. In January of this year, we decided to do come here, it's my cat. We decided to do our team's, our Essential Oil Whole Fit team cleanse. And it was no wheat, no meat, no dairy, no sugar, no alcohol, which for us, the only things we really had to eliminate was the occasional social drink and wheat. And it was really interesting. Wheat has never given me a problem. I've never had an issue. I've never experienced an intolerance with it. But when I cut out wheat for that week, first of all, we felt so amazing. And it's also, it's also juicing and whole foods. So nothing processed either. It's juicing every morning, or smoothie or soup for lunch, and then a giant, massive whole foods, beautiful, big, delicious meal for dinner. And lots of water and stuff. So we felt so good doing it that 1 week that we did it for the whole month of January, and then we've continued, and it has actually brought me to a place where I'm now making a fresh juice and blending with fresh kale and spinach and chlorella powder every single morning, and I love it. It's amazing. It gives me so much energy, and I feel fantastic, and I've actually needed to not take other supplements like B12 or iron at all. I still do take a small amount, just because our diet is never going to be totally nutritionally adequate. But yeah, anyway, so green smoothie, amazing. But a really interesting side effect of doing that cleanse was I no longer needed to take a probiotic to keep my skin in check. So throughout this process, even though I was managing the food intolerances well, the small amounts of things I would eat and maybe my cycle would cause me to have blemishes occasionally. And I just want to get really close here. So I have zero makeup on, okay? I have zero makeup, I have zero foundation. I just have filled in my eyebrows a little bit, and I have a little bit of Arbonne, eyeliner and mascara. Okay, so my skin, okay, it's totally rocking. And I always needed to take a probiotic every day to keep my skin. Even managing my food intolerances, I still needed to take a really high quality probiotic every day. This is the one that I use now, and it's a dual encapsulated, so it's actually a prebiotic and a probiotic, and it is live bacteria, even though it's not refrigerated, and it's not activated until it gets wet. So the green capsule, which is chlorophyll, not anything artificial. This is 6 billion of the active probiotic cultures, soluble prebiotic fiber that encourages culture adhesion and growth. It's solid. And I'll post a link if anybody is interested in this one. But the clear part is the prebiotic, which is released in our stomach. And the green part is the probiotic, and that is in an enteric-coated capsule, which doesn't release until it makes it to our intestines. And that's actually where we want the probiotics to be released, because they're being killed by our stomach acid, most of them. So even with a high-quality probiotic, it's not making it into your lower intestinal tract, kind of wasting your money. So this is an amazing probiotic, and I was taking that every day to keep my skin in check. The interesting side effect of doing this cleanse and cutting out the wheat, I no longer needed to take a probiotic every day to keep my skin amazing. And that's fantastic, right? And these food intolerances now, so if I ate we're vegetarian, but we do occasionally eat dairy, and I was noticing that even eating the occasional dairy, what you know, in social situations or whatnot, was not making me break out anymore or giving me any blemishes. So that was super exciting. So that for me showed me that it was wheat at the core of this that was irritating. This is my intuitive analysis, but the wheat clearly was irritating my digestive tract, right? Even though I had no signs or symptoms of a gluten intolerance, maybe that was the sign or symptom of my gluten intolerance, because now I didn't need to take the probiotic, and these things that used to trigger my skin before were not. So I also have to say I have not used soap on my skin for a really long time, or any kind of face wash. My partner is a holistic nutritionist, and he encouraged me to just use a light exfoliation and cold water to just rinse my face. And believe it or not, even with a a slightly oily skin, that was totally fine. It worked brilliant, and it didn't cause my skin any irritation or anything like it worked perfectly. But because I am a wellness advocate and I now share doTERRA products with people, I thought I should probably try their skincare line. Sorry, I was just grabbing it. Because I wanted to be able to speak to people about it and let them know what I thought. And I had heard rave reviews about the Veráge skincare. So currently I am using the Veráge skincare line, and that is my cleanser that I use in the shower. And there's a toner, apparently that helps keep your skin tone even. And there is a moisturizer, incredibly light. This absorbs into my skin almost quicker than I can, get it on my skin. I use that during the day, and then if I do moisturize at night, I'm using this very beautiful serum with frankincense, lavender, helichrysum, Hawaiian sandalwood, myrrh, and rose, and a macadamia base, and macadamia seed oil. Very, very rich. This is heavier, so I only use that at night, and I'm not consistent with this. I'm not like morning and night. Sometimes I go a whole day and I don't use it, but that's what I am using now. And I have also started to find that alcohol can be a trigger for my skin. So if I have even one glass of wine, sometimes I'll find I get a blemish the next day, even if I take a probiotic. So now I'm seeing alcohol as a bit of an irritant to my system. I also have been using this Immortelle. This is an incredible blend of essential oils and all of the most expensive skin oils. So I've been using that on this area where I have like those lines starting very faintly, and I think so I just put it under here a little bit and here, because that's where I wear my skin the most, where I seem to get these things showing. So that's what I'm doing right now. I don't feel that that's essential, and I don't think it's a huge part of my clear skin journey, but it is what I'm doing currently, and I do love it. My skin does look super fantastic. It looked good before, but I absolutely adore how my skin looks with that. So that has been my skincare journey, and these products are completely natural. They're very, very clean, and they're filled with essential oils. So the cleanser has wild orange, tea tree, and basil in it. The toner has ylang ylang, coriander, palmarosa, and cypress. The moisturizer is geranium, juniper, jasmine, and sea buckthornberry. And then I read the serum as well. So those I am loving. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention. Oh, I do spot treat. So if I do get the occasional blemish from alcohol or whatnot, that's typically my only trigger these days. That's the only thing I've associated with a blemish these days. I use an essential oil roller ball. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of Immortelle on it, and I do like to make a roller ball with my oils of tea tree, lavender, sandalwood, frankincense, and those I use to spot treat. I do put juniper in there. Juniper is a great toner, so I will put juniper berry in there. That's about it. So those are the ones that I use on my skin to spot treat any blemishes. So it has been really successful for me. I hope that there's some information in here that may help someone else to get further on their journey towards natural skincare and optimal, looking skin or skin performance. And please feel free to reach out with any questions, comments, share your experience, and I'd love to hear what's worked for you and what hasn't. And thanks for listening. I hope this has been helpful.